If you've been on the internet as of late and look at anything similar to me, you've probably seen the controversy over Sabrina Carpenter's newest album cover. And if you look any deeper, like at all, surface levels, even overstepping it, you'd see there's a continuous pattern of things that could be deemed unsavory that she's done. Now, for starters, I am not a Sabrina Carpenter fan or hater. I have no bias here, except I watched Disney in the 2010s and was also confused by the dynamic in the song Thumbs. So I will try my best to come off from an unbiased place. But no, these are just my opinions. I do not say majority of these things is fact unless I present it as such. So with that, let's continue. If you're unaware of what I'm discussing, recently Sabrina Carpenter's newest album cover got released, and some people have taken issue with it, some have not. Here it is. Now, looking at it directly, I don't see much of a problem, and clearly a lot of others don't either. I believe when some hear people say this is setting feminism back, they're not wanting to further understand why that's being said. And for the record, I think setting feminism back is a little bit of an exaggeration for this. I think some people are just saying it for the sake of, oh, woman in a sexual position, which Sabrina has been known for a while, so it's nothing new. But her being consensually placed in a sexual scenario is not at all the problem. From an outsider's perspective, me, it looks as though her brand is progression, feminism, and having fun with it. But you have to understand that when handling such heavy topics, there must be a balance in seriousness, and silliness, if you will. There will be reasonable backlash, because these are serious things real people feel the repercussions of. An issue that people are having when someone criticizes Sabrina is that there's bigger problems. Yes, there are obviously, but are majority people even focusing on those bigger problems? Are you who's saying that focusing on the bigger problems, spreading discussion about it? And the fact of the matter is that there will always be bigger fish to fry, but that doesn't cancel out the discussion of the smaller ones. Any and all of it should be discussed. It just so happens that this is the hot topic right now. And if you feel you are aware of something of greater importance, make it known. Spread the word. The problem I personally find with it, Sabrina's brand from any outsider's perspective is feminism, but it seems as though most of her content is male-focused. She simultaneously discusses hating men while very obviously over-sexualizing herself to the male gaze. This is not fact, just an observation. I feel as though any time I do see anything about her, it's about men, and that just feels completely the opposite of what being your own woman in progression is. Even in her attempts to be feminism, it still feels like she centers everything around them. Now, I'm not a fan. This could be an entirely misconstrued perspective of her branding. It's just something I've noticed and wanted to mention. The argument that is said about this album cover is that it is satirical. Well, here's the definition of satire. The use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity or vices, particularly in the context of contemporary politics and other topical issues. You can claim it as satire, sure, that may be the intent. That does not cancel out it being weird. I have a very good example of this. Have you ever seen videos online of people copying the way cringy people act? I don't know, Discord moderators, e-girls, whatever. It's not any less cringy just because they're faking it. Sure, there's a level of self-awareness, but it's still weird. And still producing the same kind of content with the same effect. Cringe. If it succeeded at being satire, men would be uncomfortable and women would feel awareness. Instead, we have a woman at a man's knees, a woman who makes comments generalizing all men to be terrible, who simultaneously consistently puts herself into sexualized situations, and not in the name of liberation. I'm not saying you can't, but I am saying in my opinion it is wrong to form a public image of feminism and turn around and perpetuate the issues of women being used as a brand. The album cover's intent may be satire, but it failed at its job. And if its true intent was to be making fun of the idea of women at men's feet, she would look hurt, upset, less picture perfect, or the man would be at her feet. It would be uncomfortable to look at. I don't feel like Sabrina Carpenter is this evil person or sexist. I feel like she's kind of thoughtless. I don't think she's putting much thought into the public persona she's created, and the fact that she has this duality of hating on men and people viewing her as a feminist figure and over-sexualizing herself for the male gaze. She hates men and the issues caused, but at the same time she poses in exploitative manners by a man for her new album cover and does Juno poses on her male dancers. Her songs sound like she's complaining, not making a statement. If her actions followed her words, it would be different, but she says one thing and does another. Now, if none of this has made you rethink any opinions on her, if you don't find any of it weird, I have 2 additional things I'd like to add. Firstly, let me introduce you to this image. If you do not recognize this or are unaware, this is an incredibly notorious novel and movies titled Lolita. It is very controversial, so let me give you the very, very, very summarized things you need to know. It is originally by Vladimir Nabokov in the 1950s. The story follows a prepubescent girl and an older male who grooms her. The book portrays this in a bad light, but we see it through the groomer's perspective. It is supposed to be disgusting. There are 2 movie adaptations, both of which did the book horribly wrong and romanticized a tale about grooming children. It has been an entire issue on the internet for a very long time of people romanticizing this. This is not about that, so I won't be going into any further information here, but in one of these romanticized renditions of the story, there is a scene where this little girl sits in a sprinkler as her white clothes become sheer from the water. And tell me why Sabrina Carpenter, who is very outwardly sexual with her branding, is recreating this scene. Oh, well, it could be satire too. That doesn't mean it's romanticizing it. Then I want you to sit here with it. Look at it and tell me what is satirical about it. What isn't making this just a pretty picture. Well, Lolita's fictional though, right? It doesn't really matter. Well, the first movie adaptation, it wasn't so fictional, when the actor of Lolita herself, Sue Lyon, faced many of the same treatments her characters faced right there on set. If you'd like to hear more about the entirety of Lolita, here are a few videos I find very informative. Now, at the beginning of this, I did say I had 2 things, so if that's not enough, let me add this.
What?
I feel like that should speak for itself. I don't think I need to say why saying you are an adult but look like a young girl, then immediately putting a sexual innuendo is wrong. Then you could argue, well, niña doesn't always mean, like, little girl. She's saying she's an adult, and then saying that she is not an adult by saying she's a niña, implying she's a little girl. Enough said. Real quick, counter argument I find is, well, Lana Del Rey uses Lolita imagery and y'all don't have a problem with that. And to that I say I can't speak anything on Lana because I know basically nothing, and you're just trying to redirect the blame onto someone else. This has nothing to do with her. Even if she was wrong for that, that doesn't make Sabrina Carpenter any less wrong too. In the end, I don't know Sabrina Carpenter personally, and I'm not going to say you can't like her music, because I'm alternative, and I'd be screwed if I couldn't listen to music just because someone did some sketchy shit. I'm just saying, it's a very weird feeling at the least. I don't feel like she has ill intent. I just don't really feel like she cares. She's just doing whatever she feels like. But again, none of us know her personally, so who am I to try and state anything about her as a person or her intent? All I can say is her public actions are weird as balls. And I will say that, like, Aftermath thought, not a script, she's not, like, literally a political figure, and I feel like people as of late have been trying to make celebrities who just write music or are actors into politicians and, like, get angry at them when they don't express political views. However, if you do present yourself as a political figure in any way, shape, or form, whether it be speaking on, like, any type of activism, or, like, specifically feminism in this case, you should expect people to look for you whenever topics come up, or to not, you know, make those situations worse with your, you know, album covers. So, I don't know if that really makes sense. I know that she's not, like, it's not her job to, like, propel the feminist movement or to, like, be hyper aware of her actions, because she's not a politician, she's a musician. However, she should be more aware of the brand that she's put forward and the damage that she can cause by doing so. Because people will use women like that as an excuse to be sexist, and that's not Sabrina's fault, and that's not okay, but it does happen, unfortunately. And I will say, I know a lot of these things are unrelated to the actual album cover itself, but the reason that I'm bringing them up is, one, these are in debate online, and the things that everyone else is talking about, and that was my goal here, was just airing out everything in discussion that I have seen, at least. As well as the reason why these are so important is because if it was just singularly the album cover and there was none of this other stuff, it wouldn't be nearly as weird. However, that is not the case, so it all needs to be taken into consideration. Also, all the drawing is something that I think would have been better if her goal was to be satirical with the cover and something to have you look at, because this is a drawing channel, not commentary. So that's all. This is my opinion. Let me know if you'd like any more commentary on things, and if so, what would you like to hear? Have a very lovely day, and I guess bye. Please come back.